Greetings, my friend. Welcome to the Secret Shop.
Hello and welcome to the Secret Shop podcast, a very special episode as you can see. We welcome Tyler of Valve News Network.
Hello.
How are you doing, Tyler?
Super excited to be here. Long-time listener, first-time caller. How's everybody doing?
How is everybody doing? Anga, what about you?
I'm doing fantastic, personally. Yeah, all is good.
Neat. How about you, Kiwi?
I got to play Artifact all week, so I'm doing the
Oh yeah, there's the flex. That had to be there. Wonderful.
You gotta brag.
You gotta.
Can you guys just hurry up and try harder to get in the beta?
I asked. Oh my god, I have so many contacts and they're all like, no, it's a lottery. Screw off. No.
You guys clearly aren't trying hard enough. Get on my level.
You need to make a
Not
guide,
even-
Kiwi, how you got it.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll get right on it. That'd actually be hilarious.
Yeah, like step one, be good.
Stop caring.
You would be very popular if you did that.
Oh,
People
I'm
would love
sure.
it.
Oh my god.
I've been playing it too, though, is the thing. I'm not in, but I have been playing it.
Are you allowed to say that?
Here come the secrets. You know
Yeah.
what? Lay it on us.
Who cares? Who cares? Screw it. Yeah, I've been playing it, and it's amazing. And yeah, people have been hosting builds in secret areas, and it's possible to trick the game into thinking you're playing Artifact 1.0 off the build, so it'll launch anyways. And all you can do are play the tutorial puzzles, but hot damn, they're cooking something good over there. I'm very excited. Yeah.
Worst case scenario, they won't let you play the beta.
Worst case scenario, they sue me. Yeah, but there's thousands of other things that they could probably do that for. So,
Oof.
love you, Liam.
Well, the shout out. So is that actually against TOS? I don't even know.
It is for the person that hosts it. It is not for the person that plays it. No.
There you go.
And I'm not going to give instructions on how that works.
Obviously.
But and it also is very you can't play the game legitimately. There's a tutorial that I'm sure Kiwi is most familiar with, where you play through 10 missions, and they kind of just tutorialize different factors of the new Artifact 2.0 at the same time as kind of showing a little bit of what the lore is going to be for Artifact 2.0 set 2, that kind of thing, which I'm hearing is a topic of this podcast. So
Definitely will be.
super excited, man. This is great time to be alive. I mean, not
It is.
really. It's not. But
Okay.
video games, they're doing great right now, So
How about Sony's new Wi-Fi router? It's great.
I mean, the PS5. Yeah, it looks like an old 2000 Linksys router. I'm getting it. New Ratchet and Clank. Hell yeah.
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 I'm sure the online artist community really likes that new character.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. As soon as the female Ratchet fell down, I was like, the Rule 34 flashed before my eyes. And I was just like, okay, they're Insomniac's going that route. That's fine. I'm cool with it. Do it.
What do you think her name is going to be? Ratchet?
No, still Ratchet, I think. I think it'll just be alternate universe Ratchet, where it's a female Ratchet now.
Can you call a girl Ratchet nowadays?
No.
I don't think so.
Well, no, you can't.
Not
which
in
is
a
gonna
kids
be
game.
Yeah. I mean, they had that word before it took on its other meaning. So
True.
this is a great Artifact podcast, by the way. I'm
It
having a great
is.
time.
So, and the thing is, there's actually been so much Artifact news, guys. Like, not even just in Artifact, but also in Dota, so to say, because this week they released the Arcana for Akasha, the Queen of Pain, which actually revealed a bit of Artifact stuff. There was a lot of crossover there. Not only did it introduce a new character, which is the banished demon prince Nock, is that how
No.
you would pronounce it, probably? But that is actually one of the names that was already revealed in that old, abandoned RPG project, just like many of Artifact's characters, just like Vanessa and Mazzy and so on. So, you know what, Tyler, you look so excited to talk about that. How about we just move right over that?
Yeah, so what do you want to know? There's a lot. Artifact is an interesting enigma where you're working with an entirely different team now that's still trying to carry the same flame that, you know, Reinhardt and Barnett and Muir and all them were trying to do. So in the case of all the old Drew Wolf artwork related to the RPG, it's interesting to know that essentially the story segments and fragments that they had written for that RPG were almost taken wholesale by Steve Jaros for Artifact 1.0. That's why we ended up with Mazzy. And there's also evidence to suggest that somebody like Anesix actually originated from that universe originally as well. Now, in regards to the new stuff, it's unknown who's exactly at the helm of the story right now. Steve Jaros had a lot of ideas for how the crossover would work between Artifact and Dota 2. And especially now, considering that we have Underlords being Jaros's and a lot of the old Artifact team's focus, it's not known exactly where we're going with it. The core of the story is still the Vul Rebellion. That's shown in the datamine that I'm sure we're going to be talking about in a second. But in relation to the old canceled RPG, we pretty much have it confirmed that every character that we see in that artwork, we will see at one point in the future. So Anger could probably make another Mazzy style video where she tries to draw what she thinks it's going to look like and then be very wrong.
Oh my God.
That kind of speculative. I remember it. Yeah.
Who remembers the little keen, cute Mazzy with the pink hair?
Yeah.
Oh my God, self-insert character.
But no, it's really cool because even if you're wrong, even if your speculative stuff based on what's available in the industry is wrong, Valve loves it because they'll actually end up taking ideas from the community's conversations on that wrong information being broadcasted. So Artifact is in a weird place where we're unable to really tell where things are going to be going because Valve doesn't know where things are going to be going just yet. We're way early game in order to be able to say, oh, set 2 of Artifact 2.0 is going to focus. We can't make that call. But what we can say is everything that Drew Wolf was working on in that RPG was further along than Valve is letting people to know. There is evidence of it being a Source 2 related game. There's evidence in the Half-Life Alyx build of it existing in 2015, around the time that Artifact took off. It's very clear that when they decided that Artifact was a Dota 2 project, Brandon Reinhardt was like, yoink, and then just kind of placed it wholesale. So all you lore nerds out there, myself included, there's a lot that could be speculated on with the 8. And we now have Vanessa, we have Mazzy, and this Queen of Pain Arcana is very informative on what we're going to be seeing within set 2 and the much deeper synergy between all of the Dota platforms in order to be able to advertise Artifact as a legitimate game that people need to be paying attention to. So there's a lot of specifics, but I'll let the group talk.
Yeah. Anger, actually, would you like to say a little bit about what you have seen in that comic that was released alongside the Queen of Pain Arcana?
Do you mean like in relation to Artifact or just the story?
Yeah, in relation, you know what, in general, but also with a special look towards Artifact, of course.
Well, I think a very interesting thing is that the first time we heard about Nog in Artifact is actually in the card. What's it called? It's the Undead Vul. What's it called again?
Undead.
No, Relentless.
Relentless Zombie.
Yeah. There, Vanessa says, Nog, somebody took the oath or something like that. So already then we had like included Nog, and now with Queen of Pain taking in Queen of Pain comic, basically what's happening is she has become the queen of the mortal plane, and now she also wants to come back to Hell and be the queen of Hell, which means being the queen of the court of Ristul, which is like this institution for demons. And in order to do so, she made a deal with Nog, the exiled prince, who used to be one of the demon lords of Hell. But Vanessa from Artifact made a contract with him So he's now bound to the mortal plane. And so he gives power to Queen of Pain so she can go back to hell, and so that when he eventually comes back to hell, there will still be a place for him there. And we also get to see this big battle between Shadow Fiend and Underlord and Nog, their minions. When Nog was exiled from hell, all of them, all their like clans started fighting and stuff. And I lost what was my original point. What did I start out by saying?
She was trying to become the queen of the court of Ristul.
Yeah.
Yep.
and the court of Ristul and is this big epicenter kind of, or I don't know if that's the word, but the court of Ristul now includes both Dota 2 and Artifact and Underlords, because Anesix from Underlords 2 wants to take over Whitespire eventually, and she has friends with the court of Ristul, and she wants to eventually take over all the planes. And it's just it's really cool to see that they're tying all the games together like that. And it's not something that they just thought of now with Queen of Pain's comic. Let's do that. It's so obvious that they have been planting this slowly over time for so long.
Right. But what I find very interesting is how before now the Court of Ristul was always this shadowy organization. We just knew about a couple demons that were in. But now we actually know a little bit more about the hierarchy within Hell, and how the 4 demon clans have now basically just been reduced to 3 under Shadow Fiend, Underlord, and apparently Queen of Pain's brother.
Yeah.
Who has also been revealed. Or actually...
Who doesn't look anything like what I'd imagined her brother would look like.
Oh yeah? Did you just expect another man whore?
He looks like a little goblin with like really expensive clothes.
Yeah, certainly she got all the good genes.
Yeah. But so that's one thing I have a problem with, okay? Because she's a succubus. But succubuses are usually low-level demons. So how is he then a demon lord if he is an incubus, I assume? If that's like their family trade.
I mean, that is just fantasy in general, right? You can always say, well, these kinds of demons are high level or low level. That depends on the writer. Like, there's no, like, set in stone rules about mythology like that, I would say.
Yeah,
is there a precedent in the past that a succubus would be considered a low-level demon within the Dota lore specifically?
I don't remember, but for some reason, I feel like it. I feel like I've maybe it's from IRL lore, but somewhere at least I, for some reason, think that they're low-level demons. I don't know if it's from reading about Dota lore or IRL myth though. But another thing that's also kind of revolutionary about the comic is that Underlord is now confirmed as a demon, because that's something a lot of people have debated too. If he is a demon and his realm is in hell, like I thought it was just underground, but now it turns out it is in hell.
Yeah, I know very little of the lore, and that part was quite surprising to me.
Well, they're doing the whole Dante's Inferno thing with the 7 layers of hell, so not all layers of hell have been discussed yet.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is how much they're tying into Artifact. For example, they also discussed Rix, who took the oath to Nevermore, the Shadow Fiend, and is now becoming an Artifact 2.0 Rix Oathbound. And in the recent leaks, we have actually seen a little bit of artwork that his arm seems to be taken over by some sort of demonic corruption, which is ironic, since his arm before was, scarred by the Bronze Legion bronze tattoo, and now in a little twist of irony, it has now become like a demonic arm. So just switching masters in a way, poor dog.
Yeah. I guess it's fate.
Poor Rex.
Yeah, definitely.
Not
And there's,
really. I'm not on Rix's side. He rebelled against the Bronze
really?
Legion while
Oh,
they were
wow.
getting attacked by Sorla. No. I don't think it was the right time to rebel.
Ooh, we're gonna get into some Dota politics here. Let's argue. I completely disagree with that. Okay.
Look, I'm maybe
I'm
a little
sorry,
bit
like,
biased
what-
because I love Legion Commander, but like,
yeah.
I would never, I would
Clearly.
never
I
disobey.
mean, really?
Trust
Come on.
them.
Like, the Bronze Legion came in there and they took away their, like, Temple of Prayer and their
They
gods.
would get mauled by the red mist anyways. They were sort of protecting them.
I don't know if that really counts. Like, just because it was gonna happen anyway doesn't mean it's not evil.
Yeah, it's like that's like saying, "Hey, I can murder you now because in 50 years you're gonna die. So it's not my fault that I murdered you because in 50 years you're gonna die." That's not. Yeah. No, fuck that. I know you love LC, but Rix is my man. Fuck that.
Yeah, I genuinely love Rix. Like, what a great new character. I do hope
Okay,
that-
but you don't love him when you get 3 of his card on your hand.
Oh, now you do. New Rix is fucking strong. He's obnoxious to deal with.
What are
Because
your
they're silent.
Yeah, what are your experiences with that, Kiwi? Like, I've seen a lot of nice stuff with people just yeeting heroes at towers with.
Oh, so I wasn't talking about Oathbound Rix. I was talking about the Green Rix
Or
because
still
Anger was
pure
talking
Rix.
about his card. So like, at first I avoided him like the plague just from being scarred from 1.0 because Rix. But he gains an attack every time he dies now, and gold is somewhat significant, but having bodies on the board every turn is really significant, and so he's pretty strong in draft, and late game his 2-mana silence for 2 turns is obnoxious, especially when items are so strong. It's stupid. He's great. I'm a big fan. Rix is Chad.
Oh man, I can't wait for those decks.
What I'm curious about is how we have Oathbound Rix and Rix in the same set. Because they've always talked about how the lore was going to change how cards appeared and functioned. And we didn't get to see any of that publicly. But it seems as if the fact that Rix exists in the first place means that they took the time to rebalance him for the new game. They did not port all of set 1 over anyways, so Rix was specifically picked to be a part of 2.0, at least at the beta state. But the fact that we also have Oathbound Rix on top of it is confusing to me because that's the same person in 2 different times. And if the set of cards is supposed to be telling a specific point within this story, you can't have both at the same time.
The interesting thing that the tutorial does is it actually introduces red Rix.
Right.
Because
This is new to
Yeah,
me.
I thought you played the the tutorial.
Well, then I played the first group of unreleased puzzles because I didn't see this. Yeah,
Right.
okay, go on.
Yeah, basically, what the tutorial is like a campaign, and it actually goes through the story of the first set, apparently, because it starts with the campaign of the Bronze Legion before even the Red Mist really gets into the
that's right.
story. Right, the campaign actually starts with taking over all those little cities that were mentioned in that original comic, and then later on, I assume, it doesn't. I mean, the story doesn't go that far yet. I believe. I
So
didn't want
Rix
to get
is red
too spoiled
while-
either. Yeah,
Rix is
while
red
he is in the
still-
Bronze
Yeah.
Legion,
Oh.
exactly. While Rix is in the Bronze Legion, he is still red, and I assume he transitions into green when he joins the Vul Rebellion. And then later on becomes Oathbound.
I think that was part of one of the campaign stories near the end, in like 8 or 9, where I don't remember it precisely. And there's some placeholder dialogue as well.
Oh,
but
it's super
there's some
work in progress.
interaction with
Yeah.
Rix.
Cards like Marcus aren't in the deck builder, right? Those are
yeah.
tutorial specific
They're just
campaign
tutorial
cards.
cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Red Rix would be the same. Like Red Rix, I didn't see Red Rix in the deck builder. So that is probably
Exactly.
So, but again, Oathbound Rix and normal Rix are in the deck builder. So that's my main question. is Oathbound Rix just being balanced now but planned for set 2? Are they gonna make that mistake again of having set 2 planned before they launch the game? You know, putting the cart before the horse there. I have so many questions on how they're actually going to be doing things like that, because the fact that they're essentially breaking their own lore rules within the beta, it makes it difficult to be able to truly like plan and speculate on what they're doing.
Right.
You know?
Rick's Oathbound is actually not in Hero Draft for some reason. Like, even when you have a full unlock collection, he doesn't show up. And I'm not sure if that's because he's colorless or because they have different plans with him, or if he's just a teaser or what. But he's locked to Constructed at the moment.
Valve, what are you planning? What are you doing? Jeez.
It could just be like how Hero Draft is organized, where that it's one of each color, and so there isn't a slot for it. But he also doesn't show up. I don't know. There's no way for him to show up at the moment. Nobody's played with him in Hero Draft.
Okay,
that is interesting. Now, something else that actually happened this week is a bunch of art leaks. I already mentioned the Rix Oathbound card art, but there's some other stuff as well. For example, it looks like we may now know what Saint Krella looked like. Would you like to talk about that a little bit, Enga?
All these leaks are just like people are finally getting around to data mining the build. These aren't leaks from other places. Okay, yeah.
But just as another disclaimer to all our listeners, Eric Thames has confirmed that almost all of those things were work in progress things from 1.0, the next expansion.
Just a quick word on that. That's a bit of a misnomer, because there is, on the back end of things, unrelated to the meta and mechanics, there was no main shift date of this is 1.0 and this is 2.0. Art is being shared across the board on both ends. So even if Eric comes out and says, oh, I haven't even seen that, he can't speak for the entire team, obviously, and he also can't say that that won't be reused at a later date. Valve has access to all of it, and they're trying to rebuild a game as quickly as possible. And they had an entire massive update ready to go, and they pulled the plug at the last minute. So,
exactly.
Keep
Eric
that in mind.
wasn't on the 1.0 team?
No.
Okay.
And that's what he actually himself confirmed in a Reddit thread, where he said that a lot of this stuff even he hasn't seen, because it was, from the old art backlog from the old project.
Okay, so I know we're trying to talk about something else, but I just want to get
No, fine.
Get in.
So Artifact 2.0 is a new game. It's actually on the software side a massive update to 1.0, so you can actually diff check like, oh, this was added from 1.0. But for all intents and purposes, on Valve's own internal server, this is a new game. This is on a new app ID, this is a new build, and this is an entirely new team. There are very few people working on Artifact 2.0 that had anything to do with Artifact 1.0. The only reason that Artifact 2.0 happened, and I mentioned this back in January, is I think Eric Thames was just like, I think we could make this work. There are people still out there wanting to see something. The long haulers are still bugging Eric Robson and people like that on Twitter.
That poor man.
Yeah, let's actually just do something. So for a few months, it was like October, November, December, they were rebuilding the game. In December, right before everybody broke for holiday break, they had this internal playtest. And if we're talking about the leaks, there are files inside the game right now saying, welcome to the Artifact 2.0 playtest. And it's all this internal thing that they set up as if it was a product to sell. And they just they do this all the time at Valve. They just do a mass playtest email to every employee on a Thursday. If anybody has any open slots or they're open for the day, they'll come down and play the game all day and give notes. The whole point was to just build a bigger team. At that point, it was like 5-10 people. Now they're like 15, 25. And because of that, you essentially had an entirely new team form from all over the company. The fact that they did it in December was smart because Half-Life Alyx was wrapping. Half-Life Alyx at that point had 85 people on their team, mostly full-timers. And in December, they locked everything in place and went into bug fixing playtest polish mode, which only needed about 1/3 of the people. So you have about 55 people trying to find what they're working on next. So whoever came up with the idea of in December, let's do a 2.0 playtest is a genius, because they were able to snap up some of the people looking for another project to work on.
Good timing then.
Yeah, so Half-Life Alyx, was in development when Artifact started development. So they never really had a whole lot of crossover in terms of who was working on what until Jeep Barnett left the Artifact team last year and joined Half-Life Alyx's team. What's going on now is an entirely new team is trying to rebuild this game from scratch, but they're picking up as many scraps and pieces from 1.0 as they possibly can. The puzzle system is still being used. Mutations were just leaked. I don't know if you have that in the list, but in the last beta update, specifically for closed beta testers, you can diff check it because the people on SteamDB have access to builds. And in the proto buffs, which are Steam-related backend things that allow you to do networking and things, it's complicated, are references to the same mutation systems that were leaked in 1.0 and we never saw. They're bringing those back. So anything that you find in a data mine, regardless of if it's currently being used or not, is important, because somebody on the team could go, oh, we can save a lot of money and time just by reusing this completed asset. Simple as that.
So just for those people who weren't around like a year ago when we first talked about mutation cards or mutations, can you just quickly summarize what those do generally?
Well, I can only speak to their 1.0 implementation. Of course. That's the only thing that I ever saw work. In February of 2019, there was an update pushed for Artifact 1.0 that also introduced the puzzles, which were, one player specific like cards were scripted, which ones would be played at which time. And it was essentially like Underlord's puzzles, where you had a specific set of resources and you had to try and beat the opponent. Mutations were a new set of card that was essentially a 2-layer item. You had to, first of all, get a mutation holder. You could not play a mutation, which in itself was a new ability that could be played on a hero, without first either drawing or gaining a holder. It was never confirmed whether you would buy that holder as an item or you would draw that holder as like an effect card.
So like a vessel that you had to put on
You had to equip a hero with the slot that could then hold the mutation. We have a list of all the confirmed mutations and what they would do, but we don't have the code within 1.0 to actually allow them to work. The furthest that my main programming friend got was getting the cards spawned in a deck, but the actual code to what the cards would do in game didn't exist. Right. Those same proto buffs that were taken out in the beta were reintroduced last week, essentially meaning that the entire system is being rethought but still kept around. And it is a 2-layer item. You need to equip the equip slot first, and then you can equip a very powerful second ability that is permanent on that hero as if it was always on the hero. That is a mutation.
Do you have examples of some of them?
They're just like any other card. They're an uncolored item within the code because of all the temp assets and things that were being shown. However, things that you would like gain extra, it would actually works a lot like a very strong improvement. I remember one was like 10 extra gold every round. Any kind of worked like, what was that Pokemon move? Leech Life, where you would attack an enemy and whatever damage you would do to the enemy, you would gain back as health.
Yeah, it's very effective.
They're very strong abilities, but they're very strong because of their high cost, both in terms of you're spending mana to equip them, you're spending gold to get the because the mutations were a type of item, by the way. They were something that you would purchase, but the equipment slot itself, I don't know how you would get them.
That is all very fascinating. Like Valve really, I was going to say waste not, but no. No. But what they do is they do reuse a lot of stuff that they have previously shelved, which is why a couple people in like the community, especially the lore community, Anger and I have talked about this as well, have this thought that they may just reuse a lot of those old RPG ideas to bring a fourth Dotaverse game that might be an RPG out.
God. You're pushing my buttons here.
Well, but here's the thing, like, we're not this is not any secret information. This is just from what we're hearing in the lore about the Great Confluence, which is supposed to be this great event after the War of the Ancients and everything that they're working towards, like. And there's some weird stuff going on where at first we thought that the attack that Underlord does on Stonehall has basically been overwritten and changed by the whole Red Mist Horde thing. But the comic that just came out confirms that Underlord is still planning his assault on Stonehall.
Which doesn't make any sense because Marcus dies in the fucking Artifact comic. So he can't be alive. That can't happen after.
Can
it
there
has to be separate timelines. Yeah, it has to be separate timelines. It still can't happen after one another.
Exactly.
That also really annoyed me. I had to get that out.
Artifact,
Exactly.
Artifact 2.0 has just posted a news post.
Wonderful.
Oh, maybe I got in. Let me check. Maybe I got in.
Well,
Well, is there more invites?
You always gotta check.
don't worry.
They're just doing a survey on the red heroes, like from here.
I'm still gonna check.
Yeah. Don't worry. We're gonna
Yeah, no, you should
edit
definitely
stuff
check.
if needed. Blah blah blah.
But another thing,
yeah.
But I hate how like the website never
Oh,
updates properly.
thank you, Kiwi.
Thank you.
Before we jump in, we just want to let you know.
All right, let's just take a
We're picking
quick
up the
look.
rate of invites.
Picking up. You guys are gonna be in. It's gonna happen.
Yay.
Small batches of
Yay.
invites will be sent out through the week, followed by larger groups before the weekend.
Oh my
Oh, yeah.
Hell
goodness.
yeah!
Thank God.
Finally. Oh my god, I bet I...
I'm still not in yet, but this is the week. I feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I need people to share my joy with. I'm so tired of streaming to depress people that aren't in the beta.
I'm so tired
Yeah.
of stomping noobs.
I mean, even Slacks isn't in.
Dude,
My
they
God.
they updated
Right.
matchmaking this week, and matches have been so much better. Like yesterday, I went 4-3 after going 15-0 earlier in the week. Like I've been having really good games against really good people, and there's so many close games, and it's wonderful.
Are they
That's
outwardly communicating skill groups just yet, or
Outwardly meaning like, can I see opponents?
Like the
no? Can you
Archon
see
stuff
like
and
what
stuff.
your own skill is?
Yeah,
Yet?
I hit
okay.
leaderboard yesterday, and it's just like the same. It's the same rank system as Dota, and then there's a leaderboard rank on top that doesn't have a
Damn.
visible leaderboard yet.
I know, right? Valve doing
What rank are you?
stuff.
I'm leaderboard. I hit it yesterday.
Oh. Wow.
How high? How high?
What? Oh, it
Oh.
doesn't say.
Oh,
It
okay.
just,
It
it just goes up to Immortal 5, and then it says leaderboard.
Wow,
Damn.
you're immortal?
Basically.
I'm above Immortal. I'm better at Artifact than Dota.
Swooning over here.
Yeah, Anger's used to my bullshit where every time I play a card, she goes, interesting.
It's like,
If it makes you
Why?
feel better, I do the same to her.
I've beaten you multiple times, okay? In tournaments.
Multiple?
So at
man.
least
Actually,
one.
yes. At least. No,
At least
there was
one.
2. You unironically beat me twice. No, I've been.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we talked about that one episode. No, Anger is most improved for sure.
Damn, what does
Yeah.
that make me?
I don't know. Do you need some lessons, Tyler?
I might. I've only beaten Anger once.
Where were we?
yeah,
Sorry
so the
for
blog post that they just did, just to talk about Valve communication, right? Last week they actually opened a beta Discord so people could discuss the strength and pretty much everything about the red heroes. So this blog post that they just posted is about the results of that, so people can check out all the juicy details there.
I don't think it's results yet. I
No,
think it's
you
the
can still
survey
vote
that-
on
Actually,
it. Yeah.
this only starts the poll, apparently.
And next
Yeah.
week will be results, and then they'll do Green Heroes, and they'll go through all of them.
Yeah.
And
Damn.
I think the most important part here is that they're focusing on how fun it is and the identity of them. And we mentioned this a little bit last week, but
Yeah.
I really like that. On the other hand, it feels like there's so much more change coming.
Right.
Yes.
Like as Tyler said earlier, they don't know where this is going, and that's a little scary, but it's also really good that we have so much control over the game. Like, the game is only going to exist in a state where we enjoy it.
Let me clarify that statement a bit. They don't know where they're going in terms of overall game balance, general meta, gameplay expectations, what heroes will be put in, what cards to expect in different sets. They have a very strong understanding of major, like, big picture elements, like new game modes, new types of play, how to play, because they're I don't know when we're going to get to Chaos Gauntlet, but I really want to talk about Chaos Gauntlet. So
I'm so excited for more draft modes. People are like, are you enjoying draft? And I'm like, this is basic learning draft. This is not the whole game. Stop being so
smooth segue, Tyler.
Details.
Just get right into it.
Hell yeah.
Go for it.
So Chaos Gauntlet was one of the things that were leaked and data mined through the people that actually have access to the build. And if you actually go into the deck builder now, you have the option to change your card back, but you can't do it yet. They show you, you can also use this incredibly looking, like really cool looking card back, but you have to complete the Chaos Gauntlet. Chaos Gauntlet, as far as I can tell, is an expansion to what is going on within the tutorial. I'm hearing things about there being significantly more draft and constructed modes, but at the same time, they've already talked about how we're going to be getting a full-length single-player campagn with an artifact itself. Yeah, that's what Chaos Gauntlet is. That is my 2 cents on the matter. Yeah, I mean, there's what they're doing right now just blows my mind. I know that everything
they're talking
that
to us.
Well, yeah, they're talking to us, but Underlords, they're just following in the footsteps of Adrian Fidel being like, screw it, I'm going to do it now. Yeah. By the way, the comic showed one of the new Underlords. I know this isn't an Underlords podcast, but they did show one of the season 2 Underlords in the comic, but whatever.
Fat old fairy.
Yeah, like this whole, I don't remember the name, but it was the silhouette. Yeah.
What?
In the early bird.
Anger, why don't you know this already?
That's
I
comic.
thought you meant I thought you meant the comic of
Queen of
I said Quap. I got the two confused. Yeah. But what's funny is we had the silhouette of that character like in June of last year. It does not line up anymore. Anyways, Chaos Gauntlet and what Valve is doing with the single player campaign really blows me away. Because it's this dynamic form of storytelling through very situational card placements and events that take place within each game. Valve can control what cards you're playing against, but they cannot control what cards you will be playing. So they have this like system put in place where they have cards communicate with each other like they did before in Artifact 1, but what they're communicating is telling the story and pushing the story forward. In the tutorial, we already have examples of this with very unvoiced dialogue, where the cards that are placed will communicate with each other if you have the speech bubbles turned on. So if you have like show unit speech subtitles, the cards will talk to each other and explain like, oh, we're in a specific point in this battle. Here is the exposition to why we are fighting. And we're telling that story through not the most, genuine conversations, but, somewhat contrived conversations that are going between the different hero and unit cards. And if you go within the files and look within the English localization tokens or the closed captions that are actually being shown, where they're pulling it from, there's an entire chunk of what's called Chapter 3 that is not being used. You cannot access that just yet. But what the hell's Chapter 2? First of all, Chapter 1's the tutorial. Chapter 3 is like all about Oathbound Rix communicating with his people, and oh man, I'm so excited for all of this. It's just gonna be so cool.
We talked about this a little bit last week, but Eric Tams did hop onto a Kiwi stream actually, and was open for questions.
No way.
He was there for like over an hour.
Yeah,
really.
And he's also been active in the new Discord. Like he's immersed in the communities, and it's wonderful. He also like joined the Long Haul League, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, and then never said anything.
Don't stomp him too hard, please.
Now,
No, I mean, no, he didn't play. He just joined the Discord event.
I've been paying attention to what he's been saying on the Discord server itself, and he's been communicating a lot about different design decisions, taking people it's great. I sent him a thank you on Discord. It's like, hey, I really appreciate you picking the game back up and like everybody being super communicative about it. I just want to say I'm super excited. Thank you so much for everything you do. And he just went, thanks, and then didn't say anything after that.
Nice. But like... what I was getting at with that is that he talked about the campaign a little bit.
Oh, did he? I didn't hear this.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. He's basically saying that they're trying to figure that out right now, so nothing is like super confirmed. I asked about voice acting because that's something that I'm really into. And he said they're not quite sure how far they will take the voice acting because it looks like they may want to do more than just one campaign in the future. Which means that they don't want to be locked down to voice actor availability necessarily. So nothing confirmed, right? Not confirming anything, but that's what he said. They don't want the story to like be tied down to a voice actor availability. So they're trying to figure that out right now.
I mean, the Dota universe has not been necessarily the most strict on who's voicing whom. Between Artifact and Dota 2, you have a lot of different actors playing parts. Yeah. Like LC changed dramatically.
Yeah. I'm actually saltier about Winter Wyvern, who was also voiced by Merle Dandridge before.
Don't get me started. Oh, I'm Team Merle all the way, man. They recast Alex fucking Vance. What the hell? Yeah.
Okay, love you, Merle. Maybe they'll pick her back up when we go back to the future.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you're thinking maybe? Oh, are you talking about Half-Life or LC?
Half-Life right now, but also LC because I actually didn't look up who the voice actress was for the new LC. But if it is the same new voice actress as for the young Alex, it would make sense.
It's not.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I didn't look that up though. But since it is a younger LC, that would also make sense, but I'm not gonna try, right? So it would be awesome if they got Dandridge back in the recording booth because I am a huge fan of her voice work. She does that shaky thing.
She's so great. Yeah. She's so nice.
Shaking me to the core.
Love you, Merle. Hope you're well. Oh man.
Amazing you got me interview, by the way.
Thank you. She's great. So if they're thinking about doing multiple campaigns, that's awesome. First of all, that's super exciting.
He did use plural.
That's so cool. Yeah. So we have lines from chapter 3, but I have no idea where. I'll pull that up right now. Just talk for a second. I'll be AFK. Okay. I'm gonna try and find that real quick.
No worries at all. So since Tyler is looking something up. Anger. From the art that did leak, there's one particular piece that I showed to you that you had a very strong reaction to, which is the one where it seems like a couple enslaved, rugged-looking ghouls are carrying some kind of obelisk with a strange bluish, blackish power pouring out of it. What's your comment on that?
Well,
I put that in the Discord.
It is really interesting and it's a cool artwork, but what's really strange is that it looks like maybe the source of the Mist of Avernus. Because if you look at Abaddon's artwork and of the mist itself, it has the same like blue and black kind of misty thing. But why are the Bronze Legion commanding the Ghouls to carry around the source of the Mist of Avernus?
I actually
and how did they attain it? Because I assume Abaddon is protecting it, and even Drow is also pursuing it. And I didn't even know that it was a source like that in the first place. I thought it was like seeping out of all these cracks. Like that's how I was imagining it, like seeping out in all these cracks in the ground.
Well, originally the Mist of Avernus, we only knew a single source, which was the House of Avernus. That they have like this magical well or fountain or whatever where it's like leaking out. But through Artifact 1.0 and Drow and Abaddon's side story, we know that there is at least a secondary source. And my interpretation of the art that we see here, which we may not see in Artifact 2.0 or any time in the near future, this was just concept art from the past, but it is a very cool story idea that I believe it looks like the Bronze Legion picked up that obelisk to buff their army, because you can see the same effect on the Bronze Legion soldiers, and they're just having these enslaved ghouls carry it through the battlefield to buff the army. That is my interpretation of it anyways.
So I found this stuff.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of code. I know some of these words.
Okay, so let me walk you through what I'm showing you here. So on the left side, that's the localization token. When you translate things into different languages, the game still needs to pull the same line. So you have this system where the game is pulling this line of code. So DCG A03 M1 title, right? That's what the game is calling. And based on what your language is, you have a different version of this file. And so if you're playing in a different language, what's on the right will be translated differently. So the game will be able to show different languages. So the file in question, I'll put in the Discord here. It's called DCG PVE English. And Kiwi, if you could help me out here, because I don't have access to the game just yet. The tutorial itself, the missions have names, right?
Yeah.
So are those names transgressions of Tares, fled of Philido? Okay, so you have all of those written, and those are called Arc 1. So whatever Chapter 1 is considered, that's the tutorial, okay? Then it skips to Arc 3. Arc 3 is called Purge in the Fields.
Really?
So I'll just read it for you.
Right.
So the title of the first arc, the entire Arc 3 campaign is called A Visit from the Herald. For generations, the battle priests of Rumske have, I'm sorry, I know that Ramusk have defended the lands from the influence of the dead god. However, the last decade has seen the slow spread of the dead god's plague. The cathedral of Rumsk has been a haven of the afflicted, but it is now threatened directly by the dead god's army. After 10 years of nonstop suffering, the plague has finally reached our doorstep, hand-delivered by the herald of the dead god, Dirge the Undying. We now prepare to defend the cathedral of possibly for the last time. This won't end. They will be back and stronger. It's time the elites of Rumle make a pilgrimage to the fields. So that's the description of the campaign.
So that's the whole chapter 3?
That's chapter 3. Chapter 3 is called Purge the Fields. Chapter 3, mission 1 is called A Visit from the Herald. And then all that stuff was the description of that mission. The second block of stuff I just sent you are in-game text chats from the different characters. And the characters are Omni Knight, Undying, Lady Anshu, Quotage, Quoidge. Quoidge. Those are the characters communicating with each other. Omni Knight, Undying, Lady Anshu, that's mission 1. And then for some reason we have chapter 3, mission 4, and it's all this Quoidged character.
Quoidge is a city of the undead.
That's a city.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, well the city is speaking.
We're gonna have to put a spoiler warning on this, I think, because genuinely, because I'm actually getting a lot out of this. So a lot of the recent leaks were actually about the Ramusque faithful, Lady Anshu, who is the current leader of that, church, I'm gonna call it. And they are actually the ones responsible for cleaning up the Fields of Endless Carnage, which used to be the home of Pudge, and beyond the Fields of Endless Carnage lies Quoidge, a city of undead where nothing ever dies. But Pudge and some other friendly undead are very insistent that it's a totally cool place that is not at all morbid or anything.
Are you calling Pudge friendly? He literally, he's a cannibal. He kills people.
Maybe
he's not friendly.
Is he even
very
a people?
friendly, man.
Is he even a people? That's an excellent question.
Wow. Okay, listen.
No, I'm serious.
No, but that is the serious thing, because the Ramuscu faithful would say no, because they want to purge all of that.
No, but I agree.
Well, then it's not cannibalism. He's not eating his own kind.
Pod, there's a difference
between
between
people and not be a cannibal if you're not a people.
That's true. I'm not a cannibal if I eat fish, because I ain't fish.
But every
okay, but correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, but
cannibal.
Pudge was originally just a butcher in the Fields of Endless Carnage, and then he started eating the people he was butchering. So he did go mad, he did go crazy. He wasn't originally, but he did end up that way. But if you look at some of the other inhabitants of Koij, like, what's his name, Tristan from the Fighting Pit, like, he is actually described as a swell chap or whatever. Like, there is, I believe there's good undead and bad undead, but I would not call Pudge another one of the good guys.
I mean, what about the tailor in Underlords?
Okay, convince me who good undead people are.
Like, for example, the pit spider of Koij.
Yeah, the pit fighter of Koij. Remember, he's like, oh, I remember your face. I always remember a face. But you may not recognize me because of the whole sewing on limbs thing.
Mm.
And we don't know
never
if...
listen to the card text. Just
no, I'm so new, but I'm really starting to an artifact too, because like, you guys have just opened up this whole world of lore to me that I somehow missed over. Like, I thought the lines were cool. Every card in Artifact 2 has like the voice corresponding to the lore part that goes with them. They each have like a paragraph where somebody's reading out their lore, and they're all voiced, and it's wonderful.
Finding. I literally just found it right now.
The map data for Chapter 3, Act 1, 2, and 4 is in the game files right now. I'm gonna work on trying to load that.
Ooh.
So those might be playable right now. So in fact, I'm gonna try and load that literally right now. So, you know, this is what it's like. Right. Anger knows what this is like. This is what it's like to talk to me. Is I just go, hey, Anger, have you heard of this? No? Okay, that's new. That's all it is.
You know what? Yeah, go ahead. While you do that, I think we're just gonna keep talking about this just a little bit. Because it sounds like at least the first mission of this third arc will be a look back, because it is about purging the fields, right?
Yeah.
So it may actually introduce people to the Ramuscu faithful by just introducing them as this, you know, church of... We don't know if they're like super fanatic yet, because most of the Ramuscu faith is about healing, actually, but also about purging the undead. So it looks like that might be something, because the Pudge Arcana in Dota 2, the Blades of Obsession, was actually one of the first examples of Valve expanding the lore in the way of actually changing shit. Because that was the first time that they revealed, the Fields of Endless Carnage in Pudge's origin story, that has been cleaned up, by the way. That's no longer a thing. And there's this city of the undead behind it. And that's,
well, we don't know if it's behind it or in it.
Okay, or, you know, on the former Fields of Endless Carnage. Point is, it is in the place where things still don't die. And they're having a grand old time over there. So this sounds like they may use Artifact as a kind of lore primer for people who are just getting into it. That was always going to be the case in some ways, because they're like introducing Legion Commander and this whole conflict, which was way in the past before the happenings of Dota 2. So I personally always expected them to do that, but obviously, like, that was in a different timeline where Artifact 1.0 was successful, right? But still, Valve and the writers of Dota 2 have been investing a ton of time into introducing new characters, locations, and actually changing events and moving forward in time. Even though the War of the Ancients is still this like final destination where all timelines like converge and end.
Would it make any sense for Tinker to be a part of that?
Tinker was already there. The whole thing. Okay. Anger, would you like to tell him what the deal is with the Keen in Artifact?
Yeah. So Sniper and Mazzy, I think, were the ones who originally agreed to start it. Decided that they needed to form like a way for Keens to be more united, basically.
Okay.
And so they founded the Society of Like-Minded Keen folk. So all the Keen, both regular and small Keen, can come together and fight more as one instead of scattered all across the world, doing each their little battle. And it makes sense because if you look at almost any, especially big, strong hero in Dota 2, they all hate Keen folk. Almost everybody agree that Keen are obnoxious little shits. Even a lot of Keens don't like each other. Which is really funny because especially...
Who are the other Keens? The other Keens are like Timber and Snapfire and Tinker?
Tinker.
Any others?
Clockwork.
Tinker, Timber,
Yeah.
Clockwork, Snapfire, Sniper, Mazzy. Alchemist.
Oh yeah, on top.
Gyrocopter.
I didn't know that one. Oh, Gyro makes sense too.
Man, Anger's on top of this shit. Holy crap. Okay.
I'm a big fan of Keens.
Me too.
I'm a big fan of Keens too. I love them.
Where could people... I'm gonna make you plug your shit, Anger. What's that website where you're collecting all of your lore stuff?
Well, that's Dotaverse.net, which I haven't updated.
Yeah,
in
are you
half
still
a
working
year.
on that? I was gonna ask.
But I do have a video on YouTube explaining the whole Keen lore situation, and I also, now that you mention it, also have videos explaining the whole undead and rescue situation. So on my youtube.com/angermania, I have videos about both of those things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get on that.
Update on what I'm currently looking at here. The map data exists, but according to everything I have here, it's empty map data. That's not true. So there's gonna be I'm gonna have to do significantly more work here. However, while looking in this, there is a DCG world map, which looks like some sort of hub. So that will likely have something to do with...
They're doing the city crawl thing, eh?
It's far more detailed than city crawl.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's way more going on. I can't actually see it just yet because my tools are out of date and I'm working on a build that I don't not legally, but I don't actually have access to. But there's a lot here, and me and Anger are gonna have to, once I get my Counter-Strike video done, we're gonna have to really get into this because there's a lot here.
Yo, keep me in the loop on that, please.
Oh, well, definitely,
that is
definitely.
very exciting to
Do you know anything about the map? Is it connected to chapter 3 or what's it?
It's connected to chapter 2.
Then it must be in Roseleaf then.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So I guess since the tutorial is retelling the story of Artifact 1, chapter 2 would be it would be the Roseleaf Vol Rebellion, what set 2 originally was supposed to be.
Wait.
Yeah.
No, wait, maybe then Artifact or chapter 1 is Roseleaf, chapter 2 is what's it called again? Weeping Rose. And then number 3 is the Remescue and Undead and all that.
So I don't know if that's entirely true because within the files the tutorial is listed as chapter 1. So whatever the tutorial is I haven't played the tutorial yet, truly, but it might be getting in this week. There's a lot in here. The Lady Anshu voice acting files, which I'm sure we're going to be talking about here in a minute, that's actually from Artifact 1. But they're going to be reusing that. Surprisingly, that's the only bit of voice acting from the original set 1 that exists. Set 2 that exists in the build right now. However, this is my favorite part. So myself and a friend have been working on something. We have a list of every card from the original set 2 that was found in the files. And it's possible for us to make an artifact mod where we re-implement set 2 as like an add-on for the original artifact for people to be able to experiment with what that was going to be. However, I also know that Valve had set 2 playable to a few people in the community. And that's annoying as hell because there's no reason, since now we've already moved on, they've pulled the plug. You see, Steam has this feature called betas. If you right-click on a game and go to its properties, you can choose to launch a beta version of that game, or maybe a future update. What is stopping Valve to reward the long haulers by just going, you know what? We're not going to finish it, but if you want to see what we were doing, just check out this extra. We'll just put it out there as a beta. Artifact 1.0 set 2. I'm trying to pitch this to Valve as something for them to do. There is zero reason for them not to do that.
But I don't know, man. I don't think they would ever. They are not gonna touch 1.0 ever again.
I disagree with you.
Why not, though? They've shown that they want to communicate and please the community now. So why not? Like Tyler said, there's nothing stopping them.
It's not their...
So when we asked for them to mod the imp hats back in for Christmas, they said that they literally couldn't, and they would if they could. Why would they say that if it wasn't true? Like, is there? I don't know programming things, but is there any chance that they literally can't, or like it's different, or they've changed it so it doesn't work anymore, or something?
If they say they literally couldn't, then they did something very dumb, and that scares me.
What did they do?
Then
they fucking it means tossed it in the trash.
But like, I can't logically understand why they didn't just put imp hats back in.
It
to make us happy.
I'm kidding, guys. By the way,
if they actually said we physically can't do this, that means the code for Artifact 1.0 was not backed up, and they just kept building on it for Artifact 2 to the point where the original Artifact 1.0 doesn't exist anymore.
And so I kind of got vibes like that when they're talking about the imp.
If that's the case, fuck that. That pisses me off a bit if that's true, and I'm gonna have to mod in set 2 my friggin' self. Whatever.
Well, at least this is our interpretation of what devs said late last year when they told us it was a mechanical or technical difficulty which disallowed them from patching in the impats. So
I can activate the impats right now. That's not hard.
So, dear listener, this is all just speculation.
Speculation. Oh no.
Put that red button up there.
right there. Yeah.
Right there.
Okay. So Lady Anshu, who is she? Clue me in on Lady Anshu.
Anga, would you like to get in there?
Yeah, sure. She is described as the second coming of Krella. And Krella is, you can actually see her in one of the leaked artworks. She's the ghosty looking woman in the green outfit and big flag. Saint Krella, she was the one who, like Cymen touched on, made the Chains of Obsession a long time ago to help against the undead, but somehow it rebelled against her or something. It got corrupted by
it got corrupted,
Dirge.
I believe, by the dead god, which is, we're getting there.
Dirge Undying?
Dirge
no, the
is...
Dirge as in the song, the dead god things that controls the undead.
Isn't Undying's Dota 1 name Dirge?
Yeah.
Exactly, like Dirge is the name of the Undying, but there's also these references to the Dirge as like a mass, and like the Undying speaks a lot about the Song of the Dead, which is what Anga is referring to. She believes that there's this song that only the undead can hear, perhaps, which sways them towards the dead god. But I believe that is still speculation, though there's good evidence for it.
I think it's pretty black and white in the lore. That when the dead god first converts his victims to his cause, they start to hear the dirge song, and I think dirge actually is an English word for like a funeral song, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't. Is that really speculation? I thought that was pretty black and white in the book. I don't know.
Very good evidence. Saint
What
Krella.
was I saying?
Saint
Yeah, so
Krella.
Saint Krella, she made the Chains of Obsession. They got corrupted by whatever undead stuff, and then there's a whole story about Pudge eating it and stuff. But but what's important is Saint Krella. She was really important back in the day. That's why she's called Saint Krella, because now, and that was centuries ago, and now she was the leader. I'm sorry, this is all over the place. She was the leader of the Remescue Faithful back then, and now the Remescue Faithful have a new leader called Corella, who has been described as the second coming of
Lady Anshu.
Lady Anshu. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Lady Anshu of today is described as the second coming of Saint Krella. Yeah.
Okay.
And you have seen her in Remescue Blessing. You see her from behind, and what's the one called that nobody ever uses that has axe in it?
Yeah, the
Purification.
Healing wound. Yeah,
Something.
healing wounds.
Purify.
Wait, what? How much is it? 4 mana?
Four-
A 4
four
mana green
mana.
card?
Yeah.
I know what you mean. The perch
Nobody
one.
ever played it.
Oh,
yeah.
because it's hot garbage.
Oh, cleansing
Exactly.
right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
cleansing right.
It's so smart, Anger.
So we don't know much about her other than that she is apparently as powerful as Saint Krella, and also she's now a hero in Artifact 2, which is why it is so interesting that Chapter 3 is going to be about the Remescue Faithful against the Fields of Endless Carnage, because also I believe Omni-Knight, in his Artifact 1 lore, it's about him wanting to meet up with Luna, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
And
True.
what? What did you say, Kiwi?
I said who wouldn't.
That is really interesting too, because then what's maybe Chapter 3 could look like is similarly. I haven't played the tutorial or campaign at all. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but from what I know, you get like Marcus, Legion Commander, and Rix and whatever on your side, like as your heroes, and you play them. So what then Chapter 3 could be maybe is that you get Lady Anshu, Omni-Knight, who else did you say? Yeah,
Undying.
but he will be on the enemy team. So Undying
Mm-hmm.
will be on the enemy team. Maybe even Pudge. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we can
Necrophos?
read what they say. We can read what they're saying to each other, right here.
Oh, really?
Lady Anshu, the dead approaches, and then Undying says, "Room Utske warm walkers." Then Anshu says, "By the light," and then Undying says, "The dead god welcome you to his service." And then AMBQ, I don't know who AMBQ is, says the dead city of Quoj does not endorse this attack. Yeah.
Oh,
So-
maybe all the creeps on the enemy team are gonna be the what's it called? The pit fighter. They're gonna be all the basic creeps and ravenous mass. I don't know. that
Well,
would
there's
be really
definitely a story there, yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
cool. But yeah, we don't know much about Krella other than the new stuff that was leaked. But what is really interesting is also there's another Remescue unit in Artifact 1 called
Selfish Cleric?
Yeah. Because he also talks about how. Oh fuck! It's been so long since I read about this. What is it he says exactly, Cymen? Do you remember?
What does he want?
Selfish Cleric.
You're the nerd. You're the one that should know this. This is your
Want me to
I'm
pull 'em
sorry,
up?
I don't
Wait,
remember.
do you want me to pull him up in
No, I
Artifact
found.
2?
Okay. Yeah.
I have it right here.
Done.
Oh yeah,
It's
never
here.
mind. I was thinking of something else. Okay, scratch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, but
Something
it's
interesting, there's also a connection because Necrophos actually used to be part of the Remescue faithful before he was kicked out for becoming the Pope of Pestilence and literally infecting people with the plague.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so I'm just going to read Cleric's blurb here. For generations, the Rumusku faithful have defended the living world from the abominations that slink from the fields of endless carnage. We were known as men and women of principle, of valor, of devotion. And then Necrophos tried to destroy us all. From Avagen, the Rumusk cleric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Isn't it crazy
like,
that we have things to speculate on now?
Yeah, it is. And they were like hinting at these things even way back in Artifact 1.0, although there are a lot of loose threads there that can be picked up upon. For example, Omni Knight's whole deal is that he is foreseeing the Court of Ristul becoming more powerful and the demons like becoming more powerful by every day. So he wants to like get together with Luna and maybe even Lady Anshu and get this, you know, Holy Knight thing alliance together. This is gonna be interesting, especially because like gods are real in Dota 2. With Celimene literally coming down as the incarnation of Celimene and fighting alongside her faithful. It's very interesting what they're doing. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm so thankful that we get the opportunity to experience this. Like, it would have been so much easier for them just to abandon Artifact. And meanwhile, here we are on the timeline where they didn't.
Completely different people, but, you know, thank you, Eric Tams. Thanks.
I mean, it's kind of really cool that a different team was willing to step into that, into those shoes. I didn't know that until today, that it was a separate team.
Yeah, I found, literally, I had it backed up somewhere, but the assets talking about the playtest I have right here. Let me just quickly put that in the Discord. It's funny how, like, okay, uploading, how direct it is in the files on how this game came about. Like, welcome to the Artifact Reborn playtest. And then you'd pick if you wanted to do Hero Draft with basic cards or all cards. Yeah.
They use basically the same art in, like, when they invite you to Artifact 2. It looks like that with just the imps welcoming you and some notes.
But the imp's a little more polished, I believe.
Yeah.
Imps are coming back. You're not free of the imps. Sorry about that.
Unless there's cosmetics.
No, there is. Oh, they're Oh, you want to talk about that? Do you want to talk about what I know about that?
Get into everything.
Okay. First of all, I want to be on this podcast more often because no one ever like wants to talk about Artifact.
All we want to do is talk about Artifact.
Oof, size large.
You know what I'm talking about. Every time I make an Artifact, poor Anger over here, every time she puts a video on my channel, the comments are either, oh, girl, or where's Team Fortress 2? And it's just like, get out of here. My
Tyler's voice sounds so high.
Is this Tyler when he was a baby? Is this an old video?
Get new material.
I'm a massive fan of Dota Underlords. Both on a mechanical side and also how the team essentially reinvented how Valve kind of behaves publicly.
Yeah.
Say what you want about, you know, maybe the sameness of Underlords after a specific amount of time, but credit where credit is due to Adrian Fanal and friends. Like, they were the first team to open a Discord server, really use their Twitter. And because of that, and seeing what Artifact is doing, it's very safe to assume that they're going to be taking a hell of a lot more ideas than just communication. Underlords released their Battle Pass in February, and it had 100 levels with a lot of different ways of customizing the play experience without changing the mechanics. We already know firsthand that unlocking cards is something that can be done for free and done fairly easily. This means that Artifact is either going to be a game that still costs $20, and God help us if that's the case. There's no evidence either way, and it's very possible that Valve doesn't know the answer to that question just yet. However, it is a separate app ID, right? So if you get access to Artifact 2.0, it's not an update to Artifact 1, it's an entirely new game on Steam. So because of that, they could very easily make that a free-to-play experience. And regardless of if they do that or not, there's a lot of evidence on what they're going to be doing with the Battle Pass. We are getting a Battle Pass that is confirmed through the files. So I guess not confirmed because it's through the files, but confirmed enough for me to make that kind of a claim. There's going to be a Battle Pass. Cards will be unlocked through normal gameplay, but packs still exist. when you unlock things through packs, you are going to have an opportunity to unlock special variations of the same card. And exactly how they go about doing that seems to still be up in the air, because there's a couple of implementations that I've found within the code. Number one is what's called shadow boxing, where it's still a static image, but it's kind of like a three-dimensional thing where if you move it, it looks like. But on top of that, there's essentially using Panorama, Source 2's own UI feature, to its full extent, and loading a separate map within each of the cards, allowing for full three-dimensional active animated scenes within each of the cards. So it's like the hero portraits in Dota 2, where whoever you're playing, they're just kind of sitting in the bottom doing this. It's like that, but taken to the nth degree. And in fact, there are template maps within the files right now called card active artwork. Yeah, Cymen's doing it. Cymen knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. So essentially, Fort Soup. Essentially, what you have is a situation where they're still trying to test with what they're going to be putting into this battle pass, because it's so early on. They still need to figure out how the game is going to be played before they can go, okay, now what can we make cosmetics out of? Because they haven't nailed down exactly how the game is going to be played 100%. Yeah. That said, boards, cards, card backs, this one's up in the air, but card color combinations, where the colors themselves across the game can be changed per player. So instead of it being red, blue, black, green, you can be like, oh, pink, yellow, orange, purple, or whatever. And just have that ability at your own disposal. But it's only something you're seeing, so it doesn't confuse new players.
Right.
Alternate versions of cards in their entirety. Reskinned versions of cards. Mechanically the same, but it's like, oh, maybe it's, more attractive axe. Or, it could be named something
more
different.
Attractive axe.
Yeah, even more attractive axe.
She has a new hat.
So basically, Anger's old artifact cards, what they look like.
More so, they're essentially like Arcanas. They can be revoiced. They could be reanimated. They could have entirely different effect animations and particles, but mechanically they're identical.
Yeah.
Right. On top of that, you can also have not only cosmetics for imps, but changing the imps outright as if they are couriers in Dota 2. So that's interesting. And then you also have music packs, cursor packs, emotes, sprays, things to actually place around on the boards. Board decorations, yes.
One of the smartest things I've seen in these types of games.
Click on the cheese. Just keep clicking on the cheese.
I love cheese. I love the bike too.
So, point being, Artifact is not going to have a single thing that is paid outside of maybe its pay to entry fee, which I hope to God is not what's going to happen.
Doesn't happen.
But nothing inside the game on a mechanical level will be paid whatsoever. There is no evidence of any 2.0 transactions outside of a battle pass right now within the localization tokens.
So it looks like Dota.
It's Dota. Well, no, it's more like Underlords, because Dota is far more focused on buy these fucking levels. You're never gonna beat this.
That's more so in recent years.
Yeah, sure. But Underlords had 100 levels, and I unlocked that very naturally and genuinely within maybe 2 weeks. It's going to be far more realistic, because unlike Dota, who already has a huge established player base, Artifact is trying to invite you in. Artifact is trying to sell you on its experience. Right. You can't wring people out of money if they're already kind of questionably there to begin with. So it's going to have a lot of different things available at your disposal. Card packs still exist, but the cards that you unlock through packs are uniquely different from the cards that you get within the base sets of the game, just genuinely through playing it. Because there needs to be some cosmetic incentive to sell and buy, otherwise there's no reason. And that's another thing, you still are not going to be able to trade cards player to player. It doesn't look like. And that's to avoid like gambling and CSGO gambling kind of skin situations. However, it looks like there may be opportunities to send cards through a system separate from Steam trading.
I was
and
hoping
that way,
for that.
Valve has like full control over it.
Yeah.
I mean, like a way to send cosmetics?
Like no, a way to just like within the client itself, you can send a person a card. If you have like 4 of a card, and you only need
So currently you don't get multiples of cards. Currently it was 50 hours to unlock the full collection. I'm sure they may adjust those numbers.
Yeah.
And then once you finish it, you are still given card packs for leveling up and stuff, but you can't open them at the moment.
Well, I'm talking about the cards that you get within those packs. Exactly what you're unlocking within those packs isn't decided yet. There's no evidence of the specifics, just the modular systems being put in place.
They did update, like in this week's balance patch, though, they changed the rate of cards given and stuff. So it seems like they are attached to having card packs rather than just giving cards for just giving you the collection. Like they want there to be pack opening.
Because they actually want people to have a slightly different collection from other players as well. Like, packs are still random within the tier that the pack is. So if you're unpacking like a tier 1 or tier 2 pack, you're still gonna get tier 1 cards, but there's a lot of them, so it's still gonna be a little random there, so people don't get the exact same progression.
You're not paying for the packs that you unlocked. So there's going to be no incentive to have any kind of special cosmetics within those. It's the packs that you're paying for. And Valve could literally be like, you know what, fuck that. Just add another 20, 200 levels to the battle pass and you unlock that way.
Yeah,
it's all up in the air.
Good for Xcoin.
Exactly. Okay.
Just abrupt. Yeah, okay. This is our hopes for the economy, I suppose.
I think I've said I think I've said everything. So yeah.
I was gonna say, is there anything else you're excited to tell us?
Overall, there's evidence of a source filmmaker short being made, like a little short film for Artifact being made.
If I may interject, it's actually interesting because once again this week, because of Queen of Pain, we got a trailer. We got a trailer for Dota 2. Like, it's just like 30 seconds or whatever, but still, it is really well animated. And I believe the last trailer for the Outlanders was already animated, at least in part, by people from outside the house. So
pretty much everybody that does that nowadays is outside, because
exactly.
Dota 2's, yeah.
So they've started doing way more outsourcing for that sort of thing. Just as how they have recruited so many community artists for the Underlords, like profile pictures and so on.
Yes.
Like, I was delighted to see all those community figure names in there, like Dire Dude and so
on. Anything else?
More shorts, apparently. Looking for
one more. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. The single player campaign, different ways of playing the multiplayer with the different forms of draft, different forms of constructed. Really, there's a lot of stuff related to an in-game tournament creation system, far more polished than what exists in Artifact 1. Ranks, rank-based matchmaking, casual-based matchmaking. Yeah, I think that's actually about it. I still need to do a significant amount of digging with Anger before I can call it conclusively finished, but for now.
Can people look forward to an Artifact video on your prestigious channel?
I wouldn't call it prestigious. I'd call it a hellhole of my, never-ending nightmare. But
the mental decline of Valve News Network.
What?
Where can people find your channel? Let's give you a shout out.
Oh yeah,
small YouTuber.
It's good. Just look up Valve News Network.
Help you out a little bit.
Look up Valve News Network. I'm best known for predicting Half-Life Alyx 4 years ahead of time. But right now I'm working on a lot of Source 2 related stuff. We're getting ports of Left 4 Dead 2, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And we just got a big Half-Life Alyx update, and I'm also moving over into Bethesda and Nintendo stuff. I literally, right before starting this podcast, I'm editing a video on Deathloop, Arcane Studios' new game, and then I'm doing a Breath of the Wild 2 video after that, And then I'm doing my Counter-Strike Global Offensive Source 2 video, which I've been promising for 6 months. And then after that, once I'm free of all my obligations, I'm going to spend 2 weeks working on an Artifact video that 5,000 people will watch, and a lot of them will dislike. Yeah, I mean, Anger is a very good friend of mine. That's why I'm here. I'd love to be on the show more often. I had a lot of fun doing this, tell you that. I'm not that I'm trying to wrap this up or anything, but yeah, I mean, yeah, Anger, love you. Just meeting Kiwi for the first time, and Cymen, I've known you for a while. Hello. And yeah, I mean, Artifact's future is very bright, with an asterisk.
What is an asterisk? Isn't that a character?
It's like the thing that refers to the tiny print in the contract.
No, that's
Asterix and Obelix.
And Obelix. Oh my goodness, those are the best comics ever.
So, I think we all know this. The future is bright if people play. Unfortunately, I have a very good barometer on how the community reacts to things based on how they react to my reports of things.
Yes.
And I have been doing Artifact reporting since the very beginning, you know, and I have been very interested in everything going on with that, because the lore and the theming and the atmosphere and the world that exists within Dota is some of the best work that Valve has ever done in terms of world building.
Yeah.
The problem is I don't like MOBAs, and I've tried many times to get into Dota 2, and I just can't. It's a massive brick wall that I'm never going to scale.
You don't want
for the best. Anger's been so angry recently. Just like so toxic. It just comes out in the podcast all the time. Please just for a key.
No, Tyler, just wait for Valve's new player experience to come.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly,
Sure.
that's going to fix everything. Come on.
I know how to play. I don't like it. It doesn't matter. But Artifact and Underlords allow windows into this universe through more digestible means for me.
Yes.
I love card games. And I know card games aren't necessarily for everyone, but the myth that Artifact is the reason a Half-Life 3 never came out has been thoroughly debunked, because we got another Half-Life game.
Yeah.
And so now everybody can just calm the fuck down. The problem is now that you're up against is people are saying Artifact killed Team Fortress 2.
Yeah.
No, nothing killed Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress 2 died of old age. Artifact is like maybe 2 years old. Team Fortress 2 went into beta in August of 2007. Let's just quickly go around the room and say how old we were in August of 2007. Personally, I was 10.
I was 11.
Oh my goodness,
man.
I feel old.
16.
Cymen?
I'm going to say 16.
You're older than that, aren't you?
No, I was 16 in the year of 2007 for a while.
In August?
Shit. Wait, August. Yes, I was still 16.
I was 10. Anyways, but the point is, the general public's perception of Artifact right now is incredibly colored. And unfortunately, everybody has these preconceived notions of terrible monetization, a very complex game that Valve is fighting against. Valve, unfortunately, needs to fight against. And there's a lot of evidence that the only reason these types of decisions were made was because of Garfield kind of asserting his dominance over the development team.
Mm.
We've also seen evidence of somebody like Brandon Reinhardt just straight up moving back to Texas. Brandon Reinhardt doesn't even live in Seattle anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he out of Valve? Like, did he quit Valve?
His LinkedIn still states that he is a Valve employee, but he drove a U-Haul from Seattle to Texas, and he seems to be living in Texas.
Are you
now.
camping in front of his house with a camera?
No, but he's
sounding a little creepy.
His Twitter has been tweeting about how difficult moving to Texas has been.
Okay.
So things have changed internally. The Valve is well aware of the mistakes that were made within Artifact 1. And long haulers out there that don't like me because they think I've been in this for the views the whole time.
Don't worry, we had Swim on. We're completing our Reddit hate bingo right now.
There are no views, number one. And number two, that's not how Valve works. If you are
not going to give Artifact 2.0 a chance based out of principle. This crazy principle that, well, it killed Team Fortress 2, I can't support it. That's not how Valve works. Eric Tams was not working on a major TF2 update and decided, you know what? Fuck that. Let's do Artifact. That's not what happened.
Heavy
I think
update
it's pretty
in the
safe.
trash.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty safe to say that your channel viewer base and our podcast viewer base has
Very
this, like, a Venn
different.
diagram that's like this. You know,
Yeah.
they don't overlap.
It's interesting, even though they're both like in the Valve universe, there's like very little overlap because Dota 2 and the Dotaverse is like in its own little pocket dimension.
Yes.
It's because if you play Dota, you don't have room to play
true.
anything else.
It's true.
Play
Like
Dota, or you don't play Dota, but you don't do.
Yeah, in the Valve community, you can be a fan of Team Fortress and Half-Life and Left 4 Dead and Portal and VR because they're not all consuming entities. They're not a life. Yeah. But because of that, that means that look, Artifact has a huge mountain to climb ahead of it.
Yeah.
It's going to be very difficult for Eric and the team to sell Artifact to the general public in a way that the preconceived notions of the name Artifact don't already bring. I mean, a lot of people, when they think of Artifact, think about the porn that was streamed on Twitch under the Artifact name more so than they even think about the game.
And that was a week. It was 1 week.
Unfortunately, that's
How
what
many
people...
times did you watch Avengers Endgame?
Yeah, I mean, so there is a very good chance that Artifact ends up defying the odds and becoming a moderately successful title. People that are expecting it to be in the top 10 of Steam, that's never going to happen.
No.
That is never going to happen. They're the same people that are calling Underlords a failure,
Oh god.
even though it's in the top 100 and it's doing just fine.
There's
best
no
you can-
other games beyond the top 10, Tyler.
Yeah, those the only ones that matter. Yeah, thousands are uploaded every day. Yeah.
Is dead.
No, so I'm very looking forward to whatever they can do. I'm incredibly looking forward to finally being, put in the beta hopefully this week because it seems like they're going to be cranking that out. But for the time being, the best that the long haulers can do is try not to argue with the people that seem to have kind of a
Preconception.
yeah. All you really don't argue. If it's like, okay, if you're not going to play it, you're not going to play it. Don't waste your energy on trying to convert people. Instead, just tell friends that just get non-angry people that may not even knew about it in the first place, people that don't have preconceived notions, people that have at least a little bit of an inkling of interest in maybe this experience. Play other card games, try and get other people, because unfortunately this is a grassroots movement being born out of the most successful indie game company in the entire world with endless money. But that's the weird fucking situation Gabe Newell has put us all in.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing.
My favorite type of comment whenever Artifact is being discussed outside of the bubble is, oh, did that ever come out? my favorite comment.
So, yeah, go check out Valve News Network. I'm looking to hit 1,000 subs hopefully soon. So,
Nice.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you guys could have me on, either next week or the week after I finish my data mine, I'll have a full doc of everything that I know.
Hey, you
We
know
could have
what?
you on in
Harry?
like a month when you've played a bit too.
Yeah.
Or not that
Yeah.
long necessarily, but when we've all played it, this
Don't
podcast
jinx
is
me.
gonna
Don't
be so
jinx
much
me.
more exciting.
Yeah. I have a feeling that me and Slacks are just never going to get in, just as a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slacks is proof that everything's completely random.
Yes. Well.
Okay, we know.
Yeah.
We know there's a couple people who are considered like close friends of Valve to be like in the internal play tests. We're not going to name any names to prevent any
NDAs
drama
being broken.
online.
Yeah.
Because people are like
Maybe that's what we
allergic to that.
need. Maybe we should call them out. We need some drama to
Nah.
get more views.
No. I'm going to have to maybe do that on an episode I'm not here. That'd be
Right.
great. Thanks.
Exactly. Like,
We could be the team 10 of Artifact.
ooh.
Anger, I think I'm gonna have to fire you. That's an awful idea.
Anybody remember Artifact Alliance? That old Discord that somebody had opened?
Artifact Alliance. No, I
Literally
don't
never heard of it. I thought I knew
Wow,
all
you
the
were in it,
Artifact
whatever.
Discords.
Anger, didn't you make the Norwegian artifact group or something?
Yeah, and it was really active too. We had like a league
4?
every week.
You had like 4 or 5 people in it?
No, there was like over 100, maybe even multiple. I don't even
Damn.
remember. It was a lot of Norwegians actually. Maybe not. I don't remember how many. And we did like these leagues weekly, I think, every Wednesday. I don't remember. And it was super active. Everybody was having a blast.
I don't speak Norwegian, so I was never part of it. So.
And we even did a small tournament too. I don't remember exactly, but I hosted a tournament on my channel with Norwegians only.
Oh.
It was a lot of fun.
So exclusive.
Was there any what?
So exclusive.
Yeah.
Well, you just
What
have to
about
know how to speak the language,
What about in Germany, Cymen? Was there any Artifact in Germany?
I do remember a couple streamers, definitely, but there certainly wasn't a big community, at least none that I was aware of. To be completely fair, though, I am actually not like in the German gaming scene, as weird as that sounds. I'm way more immersed in the English-speaking European to American gaming audience. It's actually very weird to me sometimes when I dip into that side of YouTube. It is a very different culture.
Well, maybe it is, at least here in Norway, like, I'm not part of any Norwegian gaming culture, other than, Artifact for a while, and there is also a Dota 2 one. But the thing is, nobody in Norway plays Dota 2. Like, everybody here plays League of Legends if they're playing a MOBA, or they're just playing CSGO. Like, nobody here plays Dota. You have to go to Sweden if you want to find Dota players.
Interesting little fact about that. I was going to run a report about misconceptions on Dota 2. It is one of Valve's most successful games, but it's actually, if you were to take a look at the English-speaking audience of Dota 2's players, it wouldn't even break Steam's top 10. There's an enormous audience in other cultures, but when it comes to the English-speaking audience of Dota 2, there's a reason why it seems like CSGO is everywhere and Dota 2 is an indie game. It's because like the player sizes within this bubble is just, it's massively smaller. So
it's actually amazing how the ratio between like Dota 2 content creators, at least the vocal ones who get like invited, who are mostly American. Obviously, there's a lot of people from Britain and Toby and so on. But it is way bigger in Europe. Like I, as a German, I actually run into people who like when they look over at my laptop and they see like the sub, they actually speak to me about it because they recognize Dota 2 and they play it, of course, because millions do. And, then there's Russia and China who are carrying the thing.
Yeah, that's exactly all
like
it is.
Southeast Asia, too.
Yeah. Like, seriously, there's a lot of flaming towards Russians in the Dota 2 community simply because of the language barrier. But, like, they are carrying the IP way more than any English-speaking country. So,
there's a reason why the most successful Dota 2 personality in the English-speaking world, who keeps getting invited, he's the host of TI, has like 130,000 subs on YouTube.
I'm not going to name any names, but there was a content creator that we spoke with a little over a year ago who was very much into getting into Artifact. I'm sure you remember him as well, Anger. He has a very big Overwatch channel, for example, and he was just trying to get in there because, new Valve game, let's see what kind of money can be made.
I was like 90% of the community at the time.
Yeah. And I showed him like some of the biggest, what I thought would be the biggest content creators for Dota 2 on YouTube, like Purge, who's like the teacher, right? And he's like, this guy has like just a couple thousand subs and like his thumbnails are horrible. And what are his views? And like he looked at all the channels I sent him and his conclusion was, does anybody in your community make money? He literally said that.
I can answer that for you. No.
No, unless you are huge, unless you are Bulldog or one of the other big streamers who get their donations through Twitch, or you are directly working with Valve, the answer is most likely no. Or maybe you're one of those Russian clip show YouTube channels.
What's that?
You know, all those highlight
highlights.
videos, like top clips,
Oh.
so on.
God.
I respect their grind. I
respect it. As I said, I respect the Russians. I do.
I mean, it's not a mistake that the biggest joke of Dota is NA Dota. Like, NA Dota lol. Okay. Yes.
Fact, yeah.
Yes, we know.
So, as we put our foot out the door, I would like to thank our producer, megaRammy. You can find her at megaRammy on Twitter, and she streams on Twitch under the same name. Woo. Thank you so much for everything and cleaning up this little mess we have going here. One day, we might do live streams, once we're a little more warmed up. Then you can see the down and dirty truth of this show. But up until then, you can check out Kiwi playing Artifact 2.0. Where can people do that?
I'm on Twitch at Kiwi_streaming. And we might delve into Constructed this week now that we've got the whole collection.
Yeah, you've been all in on that hero draft, right?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it should be Artifact most days this week.
Of course. I hope that we can join you soon.
I hope so too.
Oh man.
Anger, where can people find your stuff?
I post YouTube videos sometimes on youtube.com/angermania. I tweet at twitter.com/angermania with a P at the end. And I sometimes stream, hopefully in the future when I actually get into the beta, twitch.tv/anger_.
And I don't do shit all except for this podcast right now. You can find me on Twitter at Cymen90. Yes, that's my year of birth. You all are making me feel fucking old. Thank you very much. And thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.
Peace.
Thank you. Thank you for your business. Come again.